Hi students, we have made it to our final week of content. Here in week 7, we're going to finish things off. So already we have covered a whole lot of topics when it comes to genetics and heredity, everything from basic mechanisms of how traits are passed along from one generation to the next. You've also learned a lot about different genes and how genes are turned into protein products. And even this week, looking at some of the really cool technologies that we can use because DNA is universal, right? Because every living thing contains this same language, it's interchangeable. And so we have been able to do some really amazing things with that. And we sort of covered all of that. So to this point, we're moving on now to looking at, rather than talking about individuals and individual traits and so on and so forth, we're going to sort of go big picture now. So kind of our biggest picture as of yet. We've been focused on very small, building our way eventually, gradually, to sort of this big idea. So now, rather than looking at inheritance in a person or a family or several generations of a family, now we're going to look at how you can track alleles in populations, entire populations. And we're going to see what happens when allele frequencies shift and change. And we're going to talk about what things cause allele frequencies to change. And we're also going to talk a little bit about what we can do with genetic information if those frequencies don't change. So if there are specific pieces of our DNA that are consistent and don't change, there are other things and other types of technology that we can use. So you're going to be learning about how DNA profiling works. So I'll give you a hint. A DNA profile is not created from your genes, right? That's not the whole picture per se. That's not what we're using protein encoding genes for. That's not the DNA profile that is created for you. That profile is made up of a series of, again, there's different ways you can do it. You can basically cut your DNA up into pieces, right? And make a picture of those pieces, and the picture is unique to you. Or you can look for how many repeats you have of certain sequences, and the number of repeats you have is also unique to you. So you're going to learn about DNA profiling. You're going to learn about, again, these things that cause allele frequencies to change in a population. And then we're also going to finally talk about what that means for this bigger idea of how traits in a population or even a species can help them to become adapted to very specific environments, right? So we're going to talk about evolution and natural selection. We're going to talk about how those individuals who have the right combination of traits to live in their environment are the best fit. And because they're the best fit, they're going to be the most successful in reproducing and passing those traits on. So lots of really big topics as we're sort of finishing up, and I know it seems like a lot to slam here in the last week, but unfortunately in an 8-week class, this is what we have to do. I've got the sections for you to read this week. I've got your assignments. You guys have been doing great on those adaptive assignments, so you're going to keep going with that. Once again, we have, as always, our discussion as well. You will also notice that this week in the assignments folder, I have a place for you to upload the link to your creative media assignment. So once again, we are using ThingLink for this assignment, and this assignment is due July 11th. So it's at the end of this week that this assignment is due. Once again, we're using ThingLink for that. And so you've received an invitation. That invitation is a few weeks old. It went to your Harper email address. If you can't find it for some reason, please let me know and I can send it back out to you. But you need to sign up for an account. Once you do that and you create your project, you'll have a link that you'll have here at the top of your browser. Copy that link and paste that into this assignment link for me so that I know that your project is ready. And then what I will do is with all of the projects, I'm going to put them in a folder called the Student Folders Project. And actually I already have a current student who's in there. And then I'm going to share this link with all of you, because starting next week, which is our exam week, you also need to do a peer evaluation and a self-evaluation. So your peer evaluation is just, you're going to go look at somebody else's project and you're just going to say what you think about it, right? Like, oh, I really like how they did this and I really like how they did that, but maybe they could have done this a little bit better. whatever it happens to be, right? The other is a self-evaluation. So why did you choose the project you chose? What did you learn? Things like that. It's very simple. And there will be a link to those in the week 8 folder because that is when those are due. But in the week 7 folder here, you need to post the link to your creative media assignment. So that's what goes here. Other than that, it's a pretty standard week. I do have the exam materials for you. So I do have your next study guide. Just as before as we did with the first exam, you can use your study guide to help you on the exam. The exam format is pretty much the same. Multiple choice, I think I have a few more multiple choice questions this time and a few less short answer questions, but not by a lot. It's fairly similar to what you have already seen. Once again, you'll have 90 minutes. We'll be using Honor Lock, so it should be the same experience as you had last time. That's the idea. So you will have until Monday, July the 12th through Sunday, July the 18th to take that exam. Keep in mind, July 18th is the last day of the semester, so that's it. Class is over. You'll need to get everything in and everything finished by that time because then our semester is over. I can't believe it, right? It seems like we just got started on this not so long ago, and here we are walking into our second to last week of class. So time really has flown. But hopefully, again, you've learned lots, and if you have questions, you know where to come. I'm always here. I'm happy to look over study guides for you. I did that, I think, for a few people on the first exam, but I'm more than happy to do it for others as well. Just remember to give me about a day to turn around my feedback for you. If there's anything I think you can add or anything that might be missing or something that needs a little bit more detail, I will let you know, and I'll ask you to add that for me. So I think that does it. Once again, if you'll have questions, let me know, and have a good week, everybody.